everyone, this is Sarah, your patchwork princess. I'm doing a no makeup, hair not fixed kind of video today. The reason I'm doing this video is because I need to make some pattern weights for myself, so I figured I might as well film myself doing it. So if you don't know what pattern weights are, they are pieces of a weighted object, like a little weighted object that you put on top of patterns that you put on top of fabric. So you do not use pins to puncture the pattern material and the fabric, depending on, especially if you're using like a silk or a satin, you don't want to put too many pin pricks into the material. So you use a weight to put on them. I have made my own weights. I did some experimenting today off camera, experimenting with the inside workings of the weights, and I have done 3 different ones. This one right here is just a metal O-ring wrapped in fabric. Do I do the like beauty tutorial thing? Ooh, This one is 2 small washers wrapped in ribbon, and this one is a larger galvanized steel washer wrapped in ribbon. It's the same ribbon with unicorns on it that I used for the O-ring. I am actually going to show you, this is what the O-ring looks like on its own. These are what the smaller washers look like. They're very thin. I actually put 2 together for the proper weight for this. And these are the galvanized steel washers. All of these things are pretty cheap. These washers, these galvanized steel washers, cost about 50 cents at your local hardware store. The inside ring of this one is 3/8 of an inch, and the total ring width of this whole thing is about 2 inches. And this is actually what I'm going to show you how to make, because these are the easiest ones and they're actually the ones that I like the most. They have the best weight to them and the best width, and you can get the biggest, more kind of variety of ribbon in here. So I am going to pause my camera real quick so I can rotate everything and show you my workspace. So give me just a second and I will be right back. Okay, we're going to try this again. I just adjusted the white balance, so hopefully you can see everything. So the things that you will need for this project are a washer or several washers, depending on how many you would like to make. Like I said earlier, for the thinner, smaller washers, if you want to take a few and put them together, that'll create a little bit more heft. Or an O-ring will work as well. These have a lot of really nice weight to them. You will need some form of glue. I just have an all-purpose glue. It's basically like an E6000. The brand apparently is Duro. You will need some ribbon. This is ribbon from leftover from when I made those ones earlier before filming. And you will need some scissors. Yay, these are just all-purpose, general-purpose scissors. These aren't my fabric scissors. And if you want to, a measuring implement for measuring your ribbon. I actually did measure the washers, and the total diameter of the washer is about 1.5 inches, and the inside diameter of this particular washer is 5/8 of an inch, not 3/8 like I originally said. So these offer a really nice hole to put nice wide fabric through and a lot of heft. Like I said, these are galvanized steel. You could just put galvanized steel washers on your fabric. They're not going to do anything bad. I just think it's more fun to, wrap them in pretty ribbon. So the first ribbon I'm actually going to use, the one I'm actually going to show you on, is some mermaid ribbon. This ribbon I actually got at Dollar Tree. So I like it because it's mermaids and it's kind of pink, purple, and blue, which are the bi pride colors, and I myself am a bisexual woman, so it fits my aesthetic and my sexual orientation. So I'm going to measure this ribbon out. I'm going to measure it at, I'm going to say just 2 feet, just to make sure we have enough. So this is an 18-inch ruler, so that's 18 inches, and I'm going to measure 6 more inches to here, and I'm just going to cut the fabric, cut the ribbon. This is polyester ribbon. I could melt it if I wanted to make sure the ends don't fray, but I am going to be gluing it down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the glue on the back of the washer. I am going to put a little dab of glue, not a very big one. Make sure you close your glue back up, especially if you're like me and you have pets. Some apparently just got on my work surface. Don't use your fingers, but I'm using my fingers wiping it up. And then I'm going to take the end of this ribbon. Obviously, we want to make sure the pretty side is up, not the dull side. And I'm going to put the end of the ribbon on the glue. Now, the nice thing about this is what we're going to start doing is pushing this ribbon through the hole and wrapping it around. And we're going to wrap our first wrap on top of, see if I can get this to focus. You're wrapping it almost exactly on top of and pulling really, really tight. And then I'm going to start, you just push through the center. And this is when we just start wrapping. It's up to you, depending on how much of the pattern on the ribbon, if you're just using a plain colored ribbon or not, how much of the pattern of the ribbon you'd want to see, how much of the previous layer you want to cover up. I'm going to go, which is just basically like a millimeter over, and I'm going to push in. I'm keeping this wrapping nice and tight to keep that end, even though we do have it glued, we want to make sure it's nice and tight. We don't want it loose. And at this point, I'm just wrapping. Like I said earlier, I got these larger washers at Lowe's. You can buy them, I believe, in a pack. I bought 10 individually. They were 47 cents a piece. So this is a pretty cost-effective way of making fabric weights. You can get smaller washers like I have here. It's just you're going to be able to use a ribbon this wide. I believe this is 5/8 of an inch wide ribbon. You're going to have to use smaller 3/8 or a 1/4 inch ribbon. It's just going to take longer to wrap. Let's see. Like I said, I got this ribbon at Dollar Tree. I bought it not knowing what I was going to use it for, but I just kind of had to have it because it was mermaids and these amazing colors. So I bought it, and now I have a project for it. So as you can see, this doesn't take that much time. I'm not on my normal work surface. I'm actually at my computer. You can see my speaker over here, the pedestal for my monitor, my computer monitor. Wrapping, this is almost done. We're almost back to the beginning that we have done with the wrapping. I'm right at the beginning. What I'm going to do is, on the back, what we've determined is the back of the fabric weight, I'm going to take my glue. This glue does adhere fabric to fabric. I wouldn't necessarily recommend using fabric glue because you do want to have something maybe to glue to the metal itself. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take this tail and I'm going to do this. I'm not going to cut the tail off yet though. I'm going to take a clothespin and I'm going to close it down and let this kind of cure and harden like this. And what this will do is make sure that this, actually, you know what, I'm going to put two on here. Make sure the other side stays down as well. This will, while the glue cures and hardens, this will make sure that the ribbon doesn't come up. So what I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a few more of these off camera, and then when this one is nice and cured, I'm going to show you how I finish it off, and I'll show you the finished fabric weight. Alright, so there you have it, a brand new, fresh, new to me fabric or pattern weight, whichever you want to use. I'm having a hard time getting this to focus. If I do the beauty YouTuber thing, does it work? Is it focusing? Not that great. But I'm going to wrap a few more of these today. It's a pretty quiet night here in Austin, Texas. It is July of 2020 when I'm filming this, which means we're still in the middle of quarantine, so I can't really go out and do anything. All I'd pretty much be doing on a Saturday night anyways, sitting with my friends playing board games or something. So, not a partier, am I? So this is a really nice thing for me to do. I'm going to watch Galaxy Quest. It's one of my go-to like happy movies. And Sekhmet, my cat, is sleeping on a pillow on the couch. And I've got washers, I've got ribbon, I've got glue. You will probably see these pattern weights show up in my next series. Actually, I'm doing a series. It's called Faire-ly Historical. It is me taking a modern commercial pattern and historicalizing it, taking it to as a base for a 16th century, I think that's what era I chose, 16th century kirtle. It's not a big secret, I'm not the best at drafting. It's just not in my wheelhouse, the actual sewing. I'm great, drafting not the best. So I do use a lot of commercial patterns, even like I said, modern commercial patterns. This pattern is for a modern vest or waistcoat. But the bones are great for the top to a 16th century kirtle, so I'm using that. I'm going to show you how I use this pattern to adapt it for making it kind of fairly historical. So yeah, here's pattern weights. Like I said, I've got a few more here. They're still curing, and I am really excited to use these instead of using pens when I'm using things like satins and silks, which I hardly ever use. But sometimes it's just nice to just throw these on top of a pattern and not using a pen, and then either cutting it out or using tailor's chalk or your favorite fabric marking tool to mark around it. So yeah, pattern weights, very useful, very easy to make, very cheap to make, and yeah, just wanted to throw this out there because I was kind of bored on this Saturday night. And just also want to say, as I kind of the purpose of this channel and what I do on this channel is to show that crafting is for everybody. Crafting is for every age, every gender orientation, every sexual orientation, every race, ethnicity, creed. If you like to make things, then do it. Don't. And I also want to show you that you can make things pretty cheaply. Like I said, these washers were 47 cents a piece. A lot of this ribbon right here, and this ribbon right here, and this ribbon right here, I all found at either fabric stores or Dollar Tree for less than $1. So, plus the glue, which I think cost me like $1.50 or $2. All total, this project cost me around $7, $7, $8, but I've had this ribbon for a while. I have a ribbon stash. So, that you don't need the fanciest equipment to be a crafter. That crafters can be anyone making anything out of anything. And I'm a big fan of Dollar Tree craft supplies because they have some actually really good ones now. And especially as an entry-level crafter, if you need some ribbon, sometimes they have ribbon. If you need yarn, sometimes they have yarn. They've started selling knitting needles and crochet hooks. So it's a great way to get into a craft at the beginning, and then once you have kind of explored that craft and realized, yes, I like this, no, I don't like this, you can put it aside or donate it and then move on to something else. But I encourage crafting. I encourage everybody trying to craft. If this isn't your particular thing, if it's not sewing, if it's not crocheting or knitting or painting, or try painting or ceramics or macrame, or there's a wide variety of amazing crafts that you can do out in the world, and there's amazing variety of Skillshare and WikiHow and YouTube channels out there for basically anything you want to make, woodworking and metalworking and blacksmithing and all that stuff. So I encourage crafting. I encourage making things. It's both a useful, a lot of them are useful. I don't know why my camera is making my head look like I'm tilted off kilter here. A lot of times also they're useful skills to have. So, I can make my own clothes. I can make clothes for other people. I can fix things. I can make curtains. So I can make blankets when I crochet, and I give them out to gifts and stuff to people. So yeah, craft, make, enjoy life. It's a lot of times crafting can be a great therapy tool. I use my crocheting is a great way for me to take my mind off things and just count my stitches and make sure I'm doing the pattern correctly as I kind of have a nice fun thing on Netflix or YouTube or something if I'm watching Great British Bake Off or Parks and Rec, some of my favorite shows, and I do that and I crochet, and it's a great way for me to get my mind off all of this stuff that's happening in the world right now. And yeah, so I encourage crafting. I encourage everybody or anybody that's watching this to find something that makes you happy, even if it is, to me, right now, what's making me happy is making pattern weights. I really like them. They're cute. This one's got unicorns on it. This one's got mermaids on it. This one right here has little succulents and gemstones on it, so I'm really excited about this one. I'm going to wrap a few more. I think I have 7 big washers left and 4 small washers left, so I'm going to finish wrapping all of those while I watch Galaxy Quest. Thanks for joining me on this kind of surprise video, and I hope to see you guys again soon.